Book Club Schmook Club is brought to you by Talk Bomb. It's a book review show where I, Kristen Rogers Anderson, and my brother, Will Rogers, talk about a different book every other week. For more information, like our full archive of shows and our calendar of upcoming books, go to talkbomb.com/schmook. SHMOOK. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram under the usernames @ChillinKristen and @HauntedSponge. Book Club Schmook Club is available on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey guys, it's me, Will, and we're about to start the show, but real quick, I just want to read this amazing Apple Podcast review that we got. We didn't notice it until just after we finished recording this episode, but I do want to give a shout out to Neverland Nook, who left this review. Great show! I initially started listening to their old Harry Potter episodes, but ended up listening to so much more because they reminded me of my brother and I. I found myself laughing and relating so hard to their brother-sister language that is so similar to mine and my brother's. Thank you so much, Neverland Nook. We really appreciate that. I just sent that to Kristen. We're both really pumped about it, and we thank you. And now here we go. Enjoy the show.
Hello, welcome to Book Club Schmook Club. I'm Kristen.
I'm William.
And we are here to talk about Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
A brand new mystery book. Well, it's been around for a while, but it's new to
us?
The U.S. a little bit.
It's only kind of new to the U.S.
Oh.
I'm not sure how long, but newer to the U.S. than it is to the U.K. and Ireland.
Okay, fair enough.
I guess we'll say that.
It was originally recommended to us by a listener.
Yep, by Anita.
That's
she
right.
said that she was reading it. She told us about it in our Facebook group, and it sounded awesome to me, and I rushed to go find out about it, only to find that it was not available here in America.
Yes.
And then one of my clients at the salon that I used to work at was reading it, and I was like, "Where'd you get that book?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "What?"
Calm down. Ew. First of all.
First of all, ew. Second of all, B. Dalton. It's actually a client who I loved, but it was awesome. But I was like, wait a second.
First of all, you're gross. Second of all, I got it from Walden Books. Ever heard of it?
Barters. Those are all
long dead bookstores.
Yeah, I was gonna say discontinued bookstores. I guess so.
Well, they have been discontinued. That's
Yeah.
true. But before we get to talking about the book,
yes,
it is time for us to make a startling announcement.
Shocking, chilling, one might say.
Yes, you might want to say that. I hope you're all sitting down.
Yep.
Because it's time that this meeting comes to a close.
Meeting adjourned, guys. But only kind of. So I'm going to tell you the whole thing first. So that's not like, when if you're getting fired or somebody's breaking up with you and they're doing the long preamble and you're just like, oh my God, get to it. I know what's coming.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So instead of being like, look, we've had a really good time here and blah, blah, blah. I will do that in a second. But here's the thing. We're going to stop doing Book Club Schmook Club. However, we're going to immediately start doing a new podcast.
Yes.
And when that podcast goes up, it will already have a bunch of episodes loaded onto the feed. So we are going to start doing a podcast called Guide to the Unknown. Now, if you're part of the Schmookiverse or the Talk Bomb-averse in any way, you may have heard that name before because it's an idea for a show that William had a couple of years ago for just himself about exploring the world of scary things.
Yes.
And I always loved that idea and thought it was awesome. And he did a pilot for it and it just he never found the time for it or things just didn't click or whatever. And I've been feeling like I wanted to do something different from Book Club Schmook Club for a little while. So I prayed on it. Not really, but I thought about it. And, I was like, yeah, I don't think I really want to do Book Club Schmook Club anymore. And I was like, well, do I want to do nothing? No, I don't want to do nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what am I excited about? Will and I always get so excited about talking about scary stuff. we should do a scary stuff thing. We should do Guide to the Unknown.
Yeah.
So we talked about it. We had a lunch meeting about it at Will's office, which was very cool.
Yeah, we did actually.
Yep.
And we had like an official lunch meeting where we sat down and talked about ideas, the pros and cons.
I had a little heading in my notebook that said Guide to the Unnotes.
Yeah, that's right. That was really cool. I remember
Thank
in
you.
particular looking at that and going, whoa, cool.
Yeah. Kristen's really selling me on this.
Yeah, we talked about what it means to end Book Club Schmook Club, which has been a very big part of our lives.
Yeah, totally.
These past
4 years.
4 years. That's right. And we're going to almost end it at the beginning. We started this show around Halloween time. We're going to be ending this show around Halloween time, a little bit after Halloween.
We open at the close.
We do.
Well, I guess we close at the open. Yeah.
So what we're going to do with this show, we're going to do a few final episodes.
Yep.
Of course, we're going to talk about the Magpie Murders in just a moment. Next, the next series that we're going to do in 2 weeks' time is going to be a back-to-back of Undead Archie and Evil Sabrina or something like that, whatever it's called.
It's Afterlife Archie.
So I was wrong about that too.
Yep. And The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah. I'm not good
Wish
at this show, you guys.
Rochet, my man, Rochet and I were just messaging last night about Riverdale and how it's great.
Oh, yeah?
I was biting my tongue. I didn't want to tell him. Rochet, guess what? We're doing some Archie stuff.
Bam. Yeah. So I actually have to update the schedule on
yes, we changed our minds because...
Yeah, we got to do an old switcheroo. We're getting rid of the book, The Snowman Murders, or whatever the hell that's called.
Like, you know, when we were looking at our last books to do, we were like, okay, cool. So we're going to be doing the Blair Witch thing for Halloween.
That's what we're doing after Archie.
Right. And then the last one we're ever going to do is the Twin Peaks final dossier.
Yes.
And we're like, and before that is the Snowman.
The Snowman.
Which we put on because there's a movie version of it coming out that looks ridiculous.
It's about a murderer
who makes people snowmen. And we both were just kind of like, and the Archie things were later in the docket. And Will was like, do you want to just bump that up? I was like, yeah, totally. Let's do that.
Let's just move those ahead. So we're going to do the Archie books. That's going to be a single episode, Archie and Sabrina.
Yep.
Then 2 Blair Witch books, the 2 Blair Witch dossiers.
Yep.
Twin Peaks final dossier is the final Book Club Schmook Club.
Yeah.
So I hope that this is not too disappointing for people out there who enjoy this show.
Yes.
I do also want to say that we're also being completely aware of the fact that we have people who have been donating to the show monthly on our Patreon account. And so what our plan is for that is that at the end of the month on October, we're going to shut it down. We're literally going to boot everybody so that we don't potentially risk taking an additional cent for a show that we're no longer doing. So I hope you guys don't take offense to that. We really, really appreciate your support. I can't even tell you how much. We've been getting new supporters, and it's been amazing. It's been huge. I think we are going to set up a Patreon for the new show in the future. If you want, you can back the Talk Bomb account just in general, rather than backing the specific Book Club Schmook Club reward level, quote unquote, because again, that won't exist anymore at the end of October. But that is the plan. We don't want to reject your kind support, but we also want to make sure that we don't potentially take advantage of anybody. So that's the current situation. And if you do want to support Talk Bomb, please feel free to do so. We could definitely use your support still. But for Book Club Schmook Club, I think the best way to handle it is to just go ahead and shut it down. And then, we're going to have Guide to the Unknown launching with a little mini catalog of episodes ready for anybody who's willing to listen to them.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for sure to Talk Bomb all over the internet. Stay tuned to the Book Club Schmook Club Facebook group because I'm sure we're going to be posting links to Guide to the Unknown where you can find us outside of this show.
Yep.
But yes, it is time for Book Club Schmook Club to come to a close.
Close the book.
That's right. We're going to close the book. But we still have a ways to go before we get there.
So let's open a new book.
That's right. Magpie Murders.
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
We already know your history with Magpie Murders.
Why don't you tell me yours?
I have none.
Okay.
Why don't we do our spoiler-free review of the book? This is for those of you out there who have not read the book yet. If you're worried about, hearing anything that might ruin the mystery, because this is a grand mystery book.
Yeah.
Fear not. We'll be doing a completely spoiler-free review for the next few minutes. We'll give a big old warning before we start spoiling it because, yes, we always spoil everything we read. So this is Kristen's spoiler-free synopsis of Magpie Murders.
Yes. Okay. The Magpie Murders is a mystery within a mystery within an enigma wrapped in a riddle, and cash.
Sounds like a turducken turkey dinner.
I know I've said that before. I know you've said that before. Something about a turducken, I think.
Wait, what was the thing being wrapped in cash you just said?
It's from The Real Housewives. You know how they have taglines? Erica Jane's is, I'm an enigma wrapped in a riddle, and cash.
Ugh.
And then I think you said the turducken thing.
It's terrible.
Okay. Editor Susan, whose last name I can't remember, Ryland? Anyway, editor Susan has the incomplete manuscript of her publishing company's star author, Alan Conway. The manuscript is incomplete because Conway has committed suicide, leaving a note before jumping to his death from his terrace. Or did he? As Susan goes through the manuscript's pages, she starts to notice similarities between the characters held within and the characters in Conway's life, pointing her in a certain direction. Murder! Can her detective skills rival those of Conway's lead detective, Atticus Pound? Let us find out.
Atticus Pound.
Atticus Pound.
I mean, right away, this book gets major points for that name.
Oh, 100%.
Name akimbo.
Right?
Kristen, do you review what? Do you recommend Magpie Murders?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I had a good time reading it.
Nice.
Yeah. It's not the best book I've ever read or anything, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, I'd recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
I recommend Magpie Murders.
Mm-hmm.
There are certainly things that I thought were odd or clunky or whatever,
Same.
and I'm sure we'll get into that in the spoilery side because they would ruin some of the intrigue of the book. But for sure, I think it's interesting. I think it's weird that this is like almost a mini trilogy we've done of things where it's like Meddling Kids was a very meta take on Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
Final Girls was a very meta take on slashers.
Interesting.
And Magpie Murders is a very meta take on mystery storytelling, honestly, primarily Agatha Christie-ish storytelling. Atticus Pound, the character within the novel, within this book, is very, very, very much based on
Hercule Poirot.
That's right. And so it's weird again that we have another book that's commenting on a really popular subgenre.
Interesting. That's a very good point.
And it's one of those things that, like, and this is really neither here nor there, and I'm not going to point a finger at anybody because I think everybody enjoys this.
Okay.
I've written things like this as well, but it's just a strange thing that we're constantly in the modern age so primarily writing things that are based on things that we all like.
Oh, totally.
Like they're all like nostalgia based. Like it's not there's not as much as I really like this book.
Yeah.
It's not like there's anything new it really brings to the table.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to. Like mystery novels never.
It kind of does. The idea of his books pointing, in a direction for his own murder, I don't think I've seen before.
No, I mean, yeah, like every mystery novel tends to have like a hook.
Right.
Right. Like it has like its cool thing for the time. But being that it is, trying to study mystery novels, like there are times where Susan Ryland, who is the editor.
I hope that's the name. Do you know what that it is?
I don't know. Being that she is the editor of the book, Magpie Murders, within this book. She goes on at length about how she loves mystery novels and how everybody does, and how it's always thrilling to have a good book, and at a certain page you end up with more pages of the book in your left hand than you do in your right hand, and you feel, oh no, this is coming to a close soon. How's this going to come together? And it's very Screamish like that. But what some like meta storytelling does, and Scream's a good example, is that like Scream was playing off of horror movie motifs and cliches, and then following some of those cliches, and then trying to subvert some of those cliches. Yeah. I feel like this book talks about some of the cliches of mystery novels, and then just does the cliches.
Yes, completely.
There's no subversion element, which is what I think that the benefit of doing a very meta take on a genre can do that really elevates the work. Yeah. Really enjoyed this book, but there's nothing that really elevates it to some big level.
It was a good mystery.
Yes.
It didn't knock my socks off.
Yes. By no means is it required to find some way to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, it's a great wheel.
But it is interesting that
I'm happy to take a ride.
There are so many.
I'm happy to hang onto a spoke, William. Let it take me for a ride.
Absolutely. But it is surprising that there are so many stories now that I see becoming very popular online, which are really just like kind of navel gazing and just love stories about a type of storytelling. It's just weird. It's just odd. I wonder where like the crazy new thing is that's disconnected. Is it just not that fun to read because nobody can predict it?
Maybe. And maybe a nostalgia factor is missing from something like that. And it seems like we're more and more attached to that, or having a little bit of a thread of that in things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. But for sure, I do recommend Magpie Murders.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's a rip-roaring good time. I think it's a little bit slow to start. But I think that once you get in the groove, you're going to have a little party.
Yeah.
A little brain party as you read the book.
Totally.
Is there anything else that we can say on the spoiler-free side?
I don't think so.
This is an easily spoiled book, so
totally.
I think that we've got to just go ahead and jump. So if you are a mystery-minded person, go pick up this book at your local, as we said, B. Dalton, Walden Books, Borders.
I can't think of another one. Bradley's. I know it's not specifically a bookstore, but they had some.
I'm sure they had a book section.
Caldors.
Yeah. Oh, yep. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And now it's time for us to spoil the hell out of Magpie Murders. So, Kristen, why don't you give them the other half of the story? Why don't you give them your spoiler-filled synopsis?
What, do you guys want some spoilers?
Oh, what? You looking for some spoilers?
Well, guess what? I got them right here. They're inside my big overcoat.
And they're free.
I just do this for you.
There was a town-wide garage sale like last weekend or 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
And I was walking out my front door, and there were little kids selling water across the street. And I was going to walk the dog, and they go, water for sale. And it was for $1, but I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, I'm sorry, guys, I don't have any cash.
Water.
And they went, that's okay. And I started walking away, and I heard them go, you can have it for free. And it was such a sad
It's so sad.
moment. I was like, I'll go get cash now, buddy.
Perfect. I'll take some free water.
Ran inside and I got $5,000 and just gave it to him. You can have it for free.
Please just talk to me. I want to make a sale.
Maybe a friend while I'm at it.
Oh my God. Ugh.
Anyway.
Okay.
All right. Spoilers.
Okay.
for Magpie Murders.
For Magpie Murders. All right. Honestly, this Conway fellow seems like a real piece of work. A lot of people hated him, or would at least seem on the surface to have reason to kill him, and Susan is reluctant to believe he killed himself because it doesn't really seem like his style. Even his suicide note just doesn't seem like it would be his jam. It's a little stilted, not quite as dramatic as he was. She has a sneaking suspicion that begins growing to a roar. Wait, does something sneak and then grow to a roar? Whatever. When Alan's sister is skeptical about his cause of death, too.
It starts sneaking and then grows into a walk. Right? Like if a sneak evolves.
Yeah.
It's a stroll.
Maybe she has a whispering suspicion that grows to a roar.
From a sneak to a stroll.
Yeah.
It's a first draft word version of like from a whisper to a scream.
It's rough. This is a hard book to summarize since it's a book in a book. Alan Conway's last novel, which Susan has the manuscript for, is called Magpie Murders, and it's about the deaths of a prominent member of a small English village and his housekeeper. The man of the manor, Sir Magnus Pye, was beheaded, and his housekeeper fell down the stairs. The characters seem to have similarities to people in Alan Conway's life, and he wrote about some of them with disdain. The main character, a Hercule Poirot type named Atticus Punt, finds out he's gravely ill in the book, but Susan doesn't get to find out what happens to him or the answers to the deaths because the manuscript is missing pages. Until it's not. She narrows down the suspect list until she realizes it had to be Charles, the head of their publishing company. She finds the final manuscript pages in his desk, proving that he killed Conway and used the suicide note that Atticus Punt wrote in Magpie Murders as Alan Conway's, since he wrote his manuscript in his own hand. Charles confesses in classic British novel style, spilling his guts to the woman who's discovered them.
She discovered his guts?
Yeah. All right. See, guys, I can't do this anymore.
It seems you've found my guts.
I don't know what's going on.
Spill them everywhere.
His reasoning? He read the final pages and saw that Conway was killing off the most beloved character of any produced by their company, plus became aware that Alan was about to go on a smear campaign about the beloved series, resenting it from having resented it for taking him away from the more serious novels he longed to write. Scamp that he was, always fond of his puzzles, Alan. He'd made the name of the detective he so resented an anagram. Atticus Punt can be arranged to, and guys, I'm sorry to tell you this.
Earmuffs.
Earmuffs.
Remember when people said that nonstop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A stupid cunt. And he was about to let everyone know. Charles couldn't have that, no. So he offed him and then attempts to kill Susan by burning the building down. But her hot Greek boyfriend, who had been a red herring at one point, saves her, and they basically live happily ever after in Crete, even though she has some macular degeneration that takes her out of the publishing game. Sounds like she gets to be straight chillin' though, so she's okay. The end.
Yeah. Weird way for it to end.
So weird. It's really weird that he like happened to be stopping by too, and he saves the day.
Yeah.
That was like annoying.
Yeah. I have issues once again with the fact that like that, you know, we follow it, the novel can basically be split in half. It opens very perfunctory, very quickly.
Yeah.
With Susan Ryland going like, I've got a manuscript from this guy.
You gotta settle in and read it.
Better read it. And then we literally sit there and read the full novel.
Yeah, it has like, you know, author's notes like Stephen King endorsements and stuff like that. Not actual Stephen King, which I'm surprised about. But yeah.
But like when we read the Atticus Pound novel, it's the length of like an Agatha Christie book. We read a full book within this book.
Yes.
And then at a certain point when it switched back to her being like, that novel ended. I was like, who are you?
Yeah, completely.
There's
jarring.
not enough of an introduction to her for me to even remember that she was a mechanism.
I know.
In the book.
I have a big complaint about that in general. I felt no affinity toward this woman.
No,
like, you know, I
none.
liked her fine, but I feel this book, even though I liked it, I like mysteries. I like the way that went. I feel it lacked a certain heart and a certain je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
It was a little dry or like dead or something.
Yeah.
Dead is too strong a word, but like, it didn't have, I don't know what to say. It didn't have like a lot of life to it.
It
like,
feels like two half books.
Yeah, and I just didn't feel like I got a read on what she was like, which isn't the biggest deal, but the only time I really got a glimpse into her personality was like, oh, I like this person. Not that I disliked her, but it was when she was talking to her sister and they're being friends. But besides that, like, you really just see her reading the book and then being like, where are the pages? I'm going to be a detective now.
Yeah.
Like, I knew, like, nothing about her.
And it was bizarre the way that she started being a detective in the second half of the book.
There are a lot of things that I don't know how you would... Like, why did she even start really thinking that? You know? Like, it seemed like she kind of had an inkling that this is weird.
Yeah.
And then his sister was like, I feel like he killed himself. And then she was like, well, let me investigate.
Yeah.
There was nothing really to go on.
No, and she was totally right.
She was 100% right, but there was it's not logical that she would have been investigating this.
And
like, there wasn't even her constantly being like, I just have a weird feeling about this. I don't know. I feel weird. There was nothing. It was just like, well, I'm going to investigate this.
And then there are times where she just goes like, maybe I'm wrong. I might just be wrong. But and that's not very compelling.
It was just strange. I was just like, so then why are you doing it? Because you don't seem to be all that in it.
And then I find it disappointing that for somebody with such like gumption to get out there and try to play detective, that she then ends up in a position where she so bungles the catching of the criminal
ridiculous
that she then becomes a damsel in distress and is like, oh, help me. That's disappointing.
Why would she turn her back on Charles? Like, he was like...
One of the more frustrating things I've ever read.
I was like, what? Are you crazy? He was like, can I have a week to get my affairs in order? And she was like, you can have till the weekend. I'll see you later, Charles. And then turned around and he smacked her in the back of the head with something. I
know.
Like, obviously.
She says, I can't give you a week, then I'd be an accomplice.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 days. It's like,
what?
How is that? Does that make you not an accomplice?
Right. I don't get that.
And then why are you walking away from this murderer?
Right.
She has a monologue. There's some elements of writing in this that I really love. And one of them is in that moment where she talks about how Charles, the publisher of the company, he killed, what's his name?
Alan Conway.
Yeah. Kills Tim Conway.
Right.
And then she goes on a little bit about how by becoming a murderer, he has distanced himself from humanity. He is no longer a part of the rest of society. Yeah. And every time he looks in the mirror,
ultimate taboo.
He will see a murderer's face.
Yeah.
He is no longer part of us. And then she turns her back to walk away from him and gets clubbed on the back of the head. Yeah. You were just talking about how he's completely transformed.
Totally.
Yeah. Come on.
And then this is a stupid question. This is just for me. I don't remember. How did she come to that? What trail of breadcrumbs or steps were there to her figuring out that it was him? Like, what was the clue that made her realize that? Because I couldn't remember even when it happened. Like, I listened to the book on audiobook, and then all of a sudden she was in his office and found the manuscript in his drawer, and I was like, wait. Like, I remember her being like, aha, I know where to go, but I don't remember why.
Yeah, I remember I remember her breaking into his office
Right,
and being
but
like,
why?
here they are.
I wonder if it's one of those weird leaps of logic that if she were Hercule Poirot or Atticus Finch, that she would have explained, but that we didn't get a full explanation for.
She did, though. She says like, there was you said one really weird thing to me at the beginning of all this.
Oh, yeah. So it was, okay. It was that, okay, they were going to, sorry, I'm getting all mixed up with the way that I'm saying it. So I guess she must have just said a throwaway line like, I remembered something from the very beginning of this that knit it all together. And then she figured it out. It was that they were going to his house for something. And, he had said he hadn't been there in months, let's say. I might be messing it up. And there was some road work that had only been there for 3 days. And he was like, oh, take this way around the road work.
Yeah.
So is that all?
Maybe.
And she just,
I think that's
clicked
part
for
of it.
her?
I think that's part of it. There was something
I think it may have been that, and then she put motive together.
Yeah.
Or something like that. She was like, well, then he had been to his house in the last 3 days, and he lied about it. Why would he do that?
Yeah.
And then whatever.
So some of it's really appealing to have somebody who's not a detective be going around and like trying to do footwork and stuff. Some of that's fun to have somebody who's inexperienced being like, I tried to guide her back to the questions I actually wanted answered. I could tell I was upsetting him. So I abandoned that line of questioning.
Yeah.
And being like, and this is the kind of stuff that like, I know that Atticus Pound would have done it this way. So maybe I should say it that way. That was kind of appealing to me. I really enjoyed that. I like stories of people that are like kind of fish out of water and putting themselves in harm's way for whatever reason. So I liked that. But then the fact that she is so strong in that regard to even want to do that stuff and be trying to track down these books and put together a murder mystery, for her to then end up like, oh, I've fallen, and then her boyfriend needs to save her life.
I know.
Is so like neutering of her strength in any way.
I know.
It really diminishes what she was capable of.
I completely agree. I was like, seriously, this is such dummy shit. Why would you turn around?
Yeah.
And then
really disappointing.
Then it was very disappointing.
Yeah.
What did you think of the book within the book, the Atticus Pound?
I liked it fine.
I liked it fine too.
I had a good time with it, but truly, at points I was just like, wow, this is just going on and on and on. I think it was a bad
almost
move.
liked that world better.
Oh, I definitely liked it better, but I knew at a certain point, like I would at the beginning,
I know what you're about to say.
I was being like, why are we doing it like this? Like, why are we just in book world?
Right.
And then when I finally let myself go with it, like I was zoning out. I was having to reread. I was having major problems reading it because I was constantly being like, no, this is like part of a larger narrative.
Right.
So what's going on around this Atticus Pound story? And then once I was like, oh, all right, I guess we're never leaving this place. I started getting invested more.
Yeah.
When Atticus Pound, the detective, is talking to the husband, the former husband of the maid that died. And he's talking about like how difficult it has been for him. Like they lost one of their children like 10 years ago or more. And how heartbreaking it was and how upsetting it was. And like he goes back and he wants to talk to Sir Magnus Pye. And he's like, and I didn't kill him. I didn't want to kill him.
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk to him. And he didn't give me the time. Once we were getting into some of that, like that human nature of like trauma and anger and repression and the need for closure, I was getting so invested in it. And then the novel, like from that point on, it continues for still too long, but then it wraps up, you know, as it's supposed to per the way this book works, with Atticus Pound just going like, well, yes, of course, blah, 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 killed her. Yeah. And then, bam. End of that book, and all of a sudden Susan Ryland is like, that can't be the ending. And I was like, who are you?
I don't think that he did say who killed the people at the end of that part. I don't think you find out until they come back to it, because I think it's on the missing manuscript pages. Okay. So I think she doesn't know who's the killer. Yeah. She doesn't know what happens to Atticus Pound, like doesn't know anything.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah.
But like I really enjoyed reading it once I got into the zone of it. But, me too. Man.
And it was like kind of jarring to come out of it, and I just feel nothing towards Susan. No. I
like not a character.
I like Atticus Pound, so I enjoyed that. And then I was just like, I don't know you, lady. So I was zoning out a lot during those parts. I was a little bit more clicked in during the Atticus Pound book stuff, even though it was a little slow. Like I wasn't like obsessed with it, but I was like following it. And then I just found something about her so like dull or dry or something that I have questions for you that you might help me with. Like, I don't understand
much of what actually happened. I can't give you plot beats.
I don't get it. Like,
so much of this book is just the vibe of the world to me.
Completely.
It's not about what actually happens.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember, I don't remember what happened in the missing manuscript pages. I'll tell you right now.
Okay,
I don't know how the Atticus Poon mystery wrapped up.
Okay,
I forgot.
I can tell you. Here's what I'm having a hard time with.
I was never invested.
Okay.
I was always having fun.
Yeah.
I was never invested.
Same. It's weird that we both recommended, but like, I don't really know what the hell happened.
I know. Our recommends, because I've been thinking about it as we've been talking. Our recommends feel much less like recommends when we start talking about these things. But it's about how you feel during the reading. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you can pick apart, like, and we've said this about other things before, like, any movie that you greatly enjoy, you might still go like, well, this doesn't really, The Shining. I just watched The Shining 2 weeks ago for the millionth time.
Yeah.
An amazing movie.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's like insanely well acted. But then when you sit down and you just start going like, I mean, you were always the caretaker? Like, what does that mean? I know.
What the hell happens in The Shining?
Does anything actually mean anything? And maybe not, but maybe it does have a secret meaning. So, like, you can pick apart brilliant works of art and reduce them to, like, the story beats and how they don't make logical sense. But it's about how much you enjoy it in the watching, playing,
completely.
Yeah.
And also when you're having a conversation about it, I think it's natural to want to be like, so wait, this thing that I didn't get, did you get that?
Right,
so that's what comes up when you talk about it. Like, it's, you know, it's fun and fun to also be like, wasn't it awesome when that happened? But that's usually just like, yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. This is what I liked about it. But you have questions, and I have questions.
Yeah.
And so they're about things that I didn't understand.
Right. And
so
this show for 4 years has been nothing if not an aggressive dissection of most of the things that we read.
Yes.
I don't like listening to shows where people just go like, wasn't that cool? Yeah, it was.
It's boring. But, okay, so... Although, now that I think about it, I don't think I can think of a show that I watch where that happens. But
I've listened to some shows where people just agree with each other.
Yeah.
People don't like conflict, but they don't realize that conflict is just part of conversation a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And conflict doesn't always mean like a fight or a total disagreement. It means...
And also, in the context of reviewing something or talking about it, it could be conflict just in the direction of you and the material. Because you and I aren't disagreeing about this stuff necessarily right now exactly, but we're both like... what happened, kind of. So, so anyway, my question is, okay, so did Alan Conway, the author, know someone was going to kill him? I don't understand what he was planting.
Right.
Like, you know how, like, all of his book titles ended up being an anagram?
Yeah.
Which...
No, they didn't. The book titles didn't end up being an anagram. Atticus Poon.
No, I know, but I think the book...
anagram.
So, no, the Magpie Murders, it was important that it was Magpie Murders, not the Magpie Murders.
I thought that was a red herring. Am I wrong? Because she then at the end, when she's like talking to Charles or something,
maybe it was.
She's like, "Yeah, I was looking for the anagram and the names because somebody overheard Tim Conway saying it can't be."
Is Tim Conway a person that you're making a joke about?
Tim Conway. He is. Everyone just look up Tim Conway. It won't make sense. It's not even funny that I'm saying that it's Tim Conway.
What is it?
He's an old comedian. If you're familiar with like the Dorf series of videos, like Dorf on Golf, he would be on his knees. He'd be like kneeling, but his knees were in shoes to make him look like he was a little person.
Jesus.
That's Tim Conway.
You also, when you went on like a real Twitter tirade yesterday, I was like posting, who was that person who I commented? And I was like, who the hell is this?
Henny Youngman.
Who is that?
Hey guys, that face when you realize Henny Youngman was an old man. And now imagine I'm shocked.
Funny. Yeah.
He's an old comedian. He's the comedian with the violin who says, "Take my wife, please."
Okay. I have never heard that name
Henny
before.
Youngman is. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so yeah, maybe you're right.
Will Rogers 2000 for the best jokes in the business.
It was some pretty good stuff, honestly. Yeah. Okay, so maybe it was a red herring. So he hadn't planted any actual clues besides characters based on people in the books. I remember her looking through and trying to find significant, maybe like first letters of sentences and things like that. And she couldn't find anything there.
Yeah.
I thought that she had found something with the book titles. So no, I guess.
No, she believed that there may have been. because he had some form of argument with someone about naming the book The Magpie Murders or Magpie Murders.
Okay.
And so she thought the insertion of the word the would add a T to whatever his anagram was, and so he was rejecting it.
Okay,
but I don't know if that ever actually came to anything, because I think she makes a grand show being like, and I played with the anagram of trying to work with all the book titles, but it didn't work. But what did work, Atticus Pound, is an anagram for a stupid cunt. Which is 1, dorky. 2, contrived. 3, Atticus Pound is way better.
I think I kind of was like, oh, because it's such a weird name. It was. I did actually enjoy the payoff of it. I have to
Atticus
say,
Pound.
I did enjoy it. I was like, so that's why his name is Atticus Pound. That's such a weird name. So I kind of liked it. Also,
I do
hope
a
little bit different in Britain.
Yes,
like,
it's less
It's more
severe.
like bitch or something. There.
Yeah, that's my understanding at least. I do think that would be a really cool thing. Like, like people go like, see you next Tuesday, and that doesn't make sense, because you can't say that to somebody and then have them be like, what? Will I? Maybe I will. What? What are you talking about?
You're being a real see you next Tuesday.
I know that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But if you would just feel like, Marcus is being a real Atticus Pound. Right? Now that works.
It could have been a really good rebranding of cunt. That you call it an Atticus Pound instead. Yeah. That could have done huge things for the C word.
Listen up, Atticus Pound.
Yeah. I like it.
I'm going to kick your keister. She also, I do think it's weird though to go that far and then step it back. And I wonder if there was an American version of this book, which is what we read, because she in the book goes, Atticus Pound turned out to be an anagram for, well, I won't dignify the word to say.
Oh yeah, that's right. When she's talking to Charles the killer and she's like laying out what she's figured out.
I shan't say that.
That's true. Yeah, in Britain, I don't think it's as big a deal.
No.
Huh,
why go there and then not go all the way?
Yeah, it's weird.
It makes me think that an editor
maybe Susan's one personality trait is that she has genteel ideas about language.
Maybe. It's just a strange thing to base a really critical thing around a word that you then refuse to say.
I don't know. Maybe because Charles is like an older gentleman. She don't want to say it in his presence.
My word!
I don't know. I have no idea.
Falls over dead. Really strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think an anagram was ever in the book titles.
Okay. So he didn't know that somebody was going to kill him then, right? No. Okay. Because it seemed like that's where it was kind of going. That it was like he put clues to his killer because he knew something was up. And then I was like, wait a sec. How? Did he? Why? Okay, gotcha.
I'll ask a bigger question. Okay. Maybe it has a really simple answer. Okay. Maybe it doesn't. This whole thing kicks off because Alan Conway sends the manuscript and talks about how he has terminal cancer.
Right.
And he's going to be dead in 6 months. But all of that information, we later realize, because that's the note he sends along with the manuscript, the suicide note, which is sent along with the manuscript where he talks about his terminal illness. And later on, we find out, he didn't kill himself. He was murdered. And the suicide note was actually a fictional part of the book he had been writing, because the in-book detective, Atticus Pound, he gave Atticus Pound a terminal illness. Yeah. And Atticus Pound kills himself.
Yes.
So that was Atticus Pound's suicide note that the murderer of Alan Conway sent as if it was Alan Conway's suicide note. And then at the end of the book, Charles. Let's
not get too casual.
Chuck. Says, who cares? He was sick. He was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
I just shortened his life by 6 months.
Right.
So he was sick?
I don't know. I'm confused by that.
That's weird, right?
Very weird. Although I guess I thought that he was sick because if Atticus Pound is supposed to be sort of a an anagram? No. What's the word?
No,
not an anagram.
Proxy.
Yeah, proxy. Yeah. Is there a word that starts with an A that you would use for that? Okay. That's going to drive me nuts. Anyway.
Amorous creep. That's what AC Slater. That's what the AC stands for.
Amorous creep. He is pretty aggressive with Jesse sometimes.
Yes.
So if Atticus Pound is supposed to be sort of his proxy and he gives Atticus Pound an illness, maybe he did?
Maybe he did. I mean, I guess we're going to go with yes, he did.
I think he did, but it is unclear.
The story in the suicide note has to match reality, right?
Yeah.
Like if they do any form of autopsy or just
Right.
look at Tim Conway,
Right.
they could just be like, he wasn't sick.
Yeah.
Why does his suicide note? It's primarily singularly focused on his terminal illness.
Yeah, totally. And like he hasn't been to the doctor or
But
anything.
like, I'm not totally certain that Alan Conway's boyfriend, who I'm shocked we haven't mentioned, James Taylor.
I know.
Boyfriend James Taylor.
Maybe James Taylor isn't as famous in Britain, which
Maybe
seems
not.
weird.
Very weird.
There was also
I'm not sure James Taylor ever mentioned his illness. Does that ring a bell at all?
I really don't remember.
He may have, and I'm misremembering, but it's like, it's weird that it doesn't become part of the story at all.
Maybe he might have.
Maybe. Who knows?
He might have, actually. Like, I think he said something about before he got sick or before we broke up, or there was something that happened before his, I don't remember. But he was editing his will. Maybe he was sick. Maybe that's why, he was editing his will.
Oh, maybe.
Because he definitely was editing his will, and maybe that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
So yeah, I think he was.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Somebody on Goodreads points out that in the suicide note at the beginning, Atticus Parent, as we know now it's his note,
Right.
says like, I have no descendants to give my money to, so I will bequeath everything to my little friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then later on we find out in the book that Alan Conway,
Yeah.
does have a son. So that doesn't jive with the suicide note. So that was a clue that was staring us in the face the whole time.
Oh.
Which is pretty clever. Didn't catch it. Did not catch it.
Clever indeed.
Very clever.
That's weird though. How come nobody else caught that?
I know.
Why didn't that come up? Why wasn't his sister like, he talks about how was there some throwaway line where it's like, I mean, I know that his son disowned him, but.
No. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, because it could be an Easter egg and clue for the reader, but within the world of the book, people should just be going like,
But
wait
he does
a minute.
have a son.
Alan Conway had kids. He says in this note he did not.
That's strange.
That's very strange. Also, I found this a very bizarre detail.
Yeah.
Susan Ryland, the editor, the secondary protagonist, perhaps primary, finds it curious that Alan Conway's suicide note is handwritten.
Right.
And yet the envelope in which it was delivered is typed. Mm-hmm. And within the book that Alan Conway wrote, there is a suicide note or something that is typed, but the envelope is handwritten.
Oh, it's I believe an angry letter to Magnus Pye who gets beheaded.
All right, whatever. But so
I don't think it's a nice letter. I can't remember.
They talk about like, well, how about that? What do you think of that? They're inverses of each other. In real life, the note is handwritten. In the book, it's typed.
Yeah.
In real life, the envelope is typed. In the book, the envelope is handwritten. But what the hell does that mean?
I don't.
She says it as if it's like, wow, what a grand mystery and clue.
Right.
But it's not. It's just that Charles had some of the handwritten manuscript and saw that there was a suicide note as part of the manuscript and went, ooh.
I can make short work of this.
Yahtzee.
Yeah.
That's a freebie. I can take that.
Yeah.
But I can't have him write an envelope.
He just ripped the top off because it said like, Dear James. Yes. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was that?
Or maybe
was that
not
just
James,
coincidence?
I guess, because that would have worked. Dear James would have worked because his boyfriend's name was James. So it was somebody else.
Right.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Like they're just little things that are said as if they are clever.
Yeah, completely.
And I just find them not to be.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know how they connect or land or why.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. It's peculiar.
Very peculiar.
Very
peculiar indeed.
Indeed. I'm trying to think what else I have to say about it, honestly. Let me think. Do you have things off the top of your head?
Sure. Susan Ryland. What? What?
I don't know.
Susan Ryland really romanticizes mystery novels, which makes sense. She's both a fan of mystery novels and she's an editor.
Yep.
Which I thought was really interesting. I liked the way that she talked about what it feels like to read a mystery book, how you get invested in them, how they're important.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting that she is dating a guy who's like, who cares? Like, oh, great. He spent his whole life building up to the butler did it. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's such a cynical stance on mystery storytelling.
Well, he was also like jelly of him because they taught together or something like that. And I think he was jealous of his success.
Yeah, I think so. But like, I do think that it's interesting that you can, you know, like what I was saying before about like the concept of doing a meta story about mysteries and actually having a viewpoint or something to say or some way to subvert trends in mystery storytelling. A lot of mystery storytelling, you know, like we really love the Cormoran Strike series, but if you really wanted to, if you were cynical enough, you could just say, well, how are they really that different from anything else? Detective, sidekick, can't solve a mystery, tons of suspects. Whoop, they get a good break in the case. He's going to assemble the possible suspects and say which one did it.
Right.
It's like, well, pretty much like 90% of mystery novels follow the same format.
Yeah.
And it's a really appealing format.
It's very, very satisfying. Like you go into something knowing that it's going to have a resolution at the end.
Right. But is it a noble art form to undertake, knowing that you are just following a formula? Because I feel like that's the counterpoint that Susan Ryland's boyfriend is offering. That there is no value in any of this. But
I disagree.
No, yes, absolutely. I disagree personally. I wonder though, like, I feel like the book doesn't really offer a hugely convincing counter argument to that.
No, it doesn't, because that's exactly what happens twice in the book, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not a counter argument. It's just being like, yeah, correct. And it's sweet.
Yeah, you're right. That is what happens, and it fucking rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe. And then the killer, and this is one of those like big thematic points that like I really appreciate. Charles does some of his own romanticizing about how like people need these figures.
Yes,
know,
there are things to talk about. Yeah.
Tim Conway was going to go on this smear campaign against Atticus Pyrrhont, and Charles could not have that. One, because the Atticus Pyrrhont series is a cash cow.
Yeah.
Two, because these works belong to the people.
Right.
And people need figures like this. They need outlets like this. They love these worlds. They get invested in them. They live in these worlds.
Yeah.
Don't take that away from those people. And I thought that was a really interesting
motive
motive for the killer to have. Preserve the arts.
I did too.
Maybe that's the counter argument.
I thought that was kind of awesome.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like some of the counter argument should come from Susan Ryland, who I feel like ends up just kind of being she's literally the reader. She's literally she pieces together who committed the murder, which is hugely important for a murder mystery. But for the grander thematic point of what mystery novels do, what they mean, how you can use them to better yourself. I feel like she should have seen what the tropes were and risen above them. I really feel like that should have been her role. And not to harp on it, but like Sidney Prescott eventually ends up like getting away and is one of the strongest female protagonists in horror movies. She is almost untouchable because she refuses to play by these goddamn rules.
Yeah.
And I feel like Susan Ryland really should have been that person.
Yeah.
Charles loves the stories, so we had to preserve them through murder.
Right.
She loves the stories, so she should not allow that to happen.
Well, she doesn't. I mean, I guess by turning him in, she's not letting that happen.
No, that's true. But like, I feel like she becomes victim to the.
Well, she does. The way it all ends up going down is stupid. But she is. It would have been. I mean, honestly, it would have been interesting if she had been like, you know what, Charles, you're right. Like, Alan Conway is an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's dead. Let's preserve these works together. That'd be kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that's what was going to happen. The ending was fine, but I feel like it would have been a little bit more fun and satisfying if that was what happened, as opposed to like a predictable, tidy end, which is the bad guy lashes out, and then even more predictable and stupid, she gets saved by some dude.
Right.
Like, it would have been interesting if she was like, you know what, it goes against my ethics, but it's true. I want to preserve these books. I want to preserve my company. Like, all right, we're going to keep this secret together or whatever.
Or maybe not even to do that, but like to be like, well, you've done it. You've preserved the works. And I can't let you get away from murder.
Yeah.
Because I am the detective in this case. And what we do in these stories is I get you caught. You go away. But you saved the mystery.
Yeah.
Like, you kept it alive.
Yeah.
Like, kind of commend him while locking him up.
That would work too.
And the bigger irony to all of this, even what literally happens in the book, of the fact that he clocks her on the back of the head.
Yeah.
And then sets the building on fire a whole bunch. Just weird.
That was weird too, because if he's so concerned about preserving the business, why the hell did you just set the business on fire?
Well, because he needed to make her look like her death was an accident. He doesn't want to get caught. He really.
No, I know, but like, figure out a different way. Like, if your whole aim or most of the aim is preserving your company, like, I don't know, it's weird to set your company on fire. Then
I agree, but it was like, his one big idea was push Tim Conway off a really tall thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's really a skilled murderer, but he definitely
Not
has
a mastermind.
but he definitely has separated himself from humanity in that way. So he cannot allow himself to be caught.
Quite so.
Weird thing. Well, too, I want to say one thing real quick. I think it is ironic that the truth comes out in the end. That Alan Conway hated Atticus Pyrrhont. He hated his major creation that rocketed him to stardom and fame and fortune. That truth comes out of what the name Atticus Pyrrhont can be conjured up as. Like, I am Lord Voldemort becomes blah, blah, blah. And the people love it. Like, audiences kind of embrace it. A little bit ironically, but like the Atticus Pyrrhont series gets picked up by another publishing house. Yeah. People like come out in droves to support it.
Wait, did the anagram thing come out?
Yeah.
People know that's what it meant?
Yes.
Where the hell was I? Okay.
And so I think that's like an interesting coda of like, now the mystery never would have died anyway. Like, kill the artist.
Yeah. Huh.
Guess what? Like, Agatha Christie died.
Yeah.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle died.
Yeah.
The mysteries lived on.
It's interesting because Anthony Horowitz has written Sherlock Holmes books.
Oh, is that right? That is interesting.
It's like sanctioned by, the estate or whatever.
Huh. Very cool.
Yeah.
But I thought that was an interesting thing, that like, no matter what Charles would have done, if he had not murdered Tim Conway in the first place.
Yeah, because people want to.
All would have played out the same anyway.
They're so married to it that doesn't even matter whatever.
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, I can see that. Yeah. I would be that way with something if an author came out and was like, "Well, actually, this means like Harry Potter's a dick."
Yeah,
and I'd be like, "All right,
well, J.K. Rowling's a lot less cool than I thought she was." But all right,
I still enjoy these books and stuff, so whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the art can be separate from the artist.
Yeah, the cheese stands alone sometimes.
Yeah. That's what they say. That's what they say.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I really liked that too.
There was something else that it was
also her talking about. I don't know if this is it, but she was talking about the popularity of mysteries and things like that, and mystery novels at one point, and she was wondering if because their lives there in England are so relatively genteel and it's not a super violent place or something. And she was like, I wonder if these books and things are as popular in countries that are super ravaged by violence.
Right.
And I was like, that is really interesting. Like, it made me think that it's almost like, maybe, I don't know, but it's like a theory that it's some sort of luxury to be able to enjoy murder mystery stuff and true crime stuff because it's not part of your everyday reality that you have to face. Which I think could be, honestly.
I mean,
I thought
Games,
it was interesting.
Right?
Point.
Like, sort of like the grim spectacle of these things and watching them play out. And oh my gosh, this is so. Did you see how scary that murder was?
Right, because it's not your problem.
How that person was killed.
Right, but if you live somewhere where that's a regular occurrence, then it's probably not so entertaining.
That is interesting. Yeah, I thought it was interesting too that talking about. Alan Conway's hatred for his major creation. They talk a little bit about how, like, A.A. Milne, is that his name?
Yep.
Hated Winnie the Pooh. He created Winnie the Pooh and he despised Winnie the Pooh. And somewhat because it's out of this, like, spite for, like, being like, you're the thing that made me famous. Like, you're not that great.
Yeah.
I hate this character. And yet I must write more.
Right.
I thought that was a really cool thing to bring up. That, like, frequently the artist really hates the thing that they created, but it runs away. Which actually, now that I say it, also plays into the idea that, like, the thing you create, you're kind of not in control of anymore. Like,
I think it probably depends on what it is. I think that's to a larger extent when it's something that it's fiction. Like Winnie the Pooh or Atticus Pound or something like that. Like,
how do you create something that's not fictional?
Or aren't you just talking about creating anything, like being creative?
Yeah.
Well, I guess finish your point.
Yeah.
Well, we do this and it's not fictional and it's creative.
I guess that's true, but, like, it doesn't necessarily belong to us once it's out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm not too worried about it taking on a life of its own or anything.
No, although it would be really funny, especially since we're ending the show, if like, Book Club Schmook Club with these two people started up.
Yeah.
Frankly, I would condone it.
Yeah, sure.
If people want to apply for the job of being the new host
Let's
of
not make
Book Club
this a
Schmook
thing.
Club,
I don't feel like going through like a whole event. I'm not. You guys can just like do it, but
let's have a reality show contest to be like, Marjorie, you are not the next host. That's it. That's all of them. The show's.
Well,
we don't have any.
it was only
the show's
Marjorie.
over. Yeah,
toast.
Only Marjorie sent in an application. Well, too bad. That'd be funny though. I think Bobby and I talked about that once. What if? I mean, Will and Bobby know everything is for all intents and purposes pretty done.
Yeah.
Like if like Marty and Douglas know everything started.
Sure.
Like what? Whoa, that's weird. Or like Will and Bobby know everything with Hank and Bill.
Starring. Yeah.
Anyway, but just like the idea that like this art form gets away from you because people love it, they make it theirs.
Yeah.
Sometimes it literally goes on to live well beyond you. In the case of like Sherlock Holmes, like those books are still being written.
Totally.
Apparently the author of this book writes them.
Yep.
Like that is a character, that is a creation that is beyond, way beyond the control of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle at this point.
Totally.
They'll be making Halloween
far as
movies.
we know.
Well, yeah, true. He may be puppeteering
He probably
everything
has
from
a
the great
hand
beyond,
in it, yeah.
from the netherworld.
Yeah.
But like they're going to make Halloween movies and like well beyond our
totally.
deaths. You know what I mean? Like there are going to be new Saw movies when we've been dead for like 100 years. You know?
Not if I have something to say about it.
Do you?
I'm going to live forever. No, not about the Saw movies.
I'm never going to die.
If I have something to say about my death.
Right.
It's not happening.
But so like the idea that like you can hate it all you want.
Yeah.
You probably also kind of hate it a little bit because you acknowledge it's not under your control anymore.
Right.
It's outside of you.
Yeah, totally.
As much
that
as
would
Alan
bug me.
Conway hated Atticus Pyrrhant, he kept writing the books.
Right.
He had to. Yeah, what's his other choice? Don't get paid?
Yeah.
Don't put that bread on that table?
Exactly.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. He likes that bread.
Yeah.
No, I know. That must be a very weird spot to be in, a weird sensation.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
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 Cool. All right. Is there anything else that you want to make sure that we get on the record about Magpie Murders?
The only other thing was that I had a hard time adjusting to the fact that the stuff in like in the real world was happening in our year, because I got so acclimated to the past. So then they would mention like, I don't even know if it's but like an iPhone. I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, it's not fun. It wasn't fun for me to be like so invested in the 1940s story of Atticus Pyrrhant.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, none of that's real.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of that too, where it's like a fictional story in a fictional story. And you're like, I know I'm reading a fictional story about Susan Ryland doing all this. I know that she's not real, but it's extra disappointing to me to be like, Atticus Pyrrhant is 2 steps removed from our reality rather than the standard one.
Yeah, completely.
When you watch a movie, you're not watching real life. But when characters in a movie watch a movie, it's like, why would I be invested in that?
Yeah, totally. Because it's really not real.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
Weirdly, this is something that I thought. One of the more interesting books I think that we've ever covered was the first Twin Peaks dossier, Secret History of Twin Peaks.
Yep.
In which a character is tasked at the very beginning, in the first few pages, FBI agent Gordon Cole tasks Tamara Preston with reading this massive dossier that someone put together.
Right.
And tell him all about it, what was in it, who wrote it. So we're reading this dossier. We're reading the dossier that Tamara Preston is reading.
Right. And
she is making notations on it. So we will read essentially a chapter, quote unquote. It's not like a very, standard structure to the book.
Right.
But we'll read a giant passage and then have notes from Tamara Preston, imprinting on that story, saying what she thinks about it, what she thinks it might mean.
Right.
Turn the page, move on. If the Magpie Murders, meaning the book within the book, the Atticus Pyrrhant story, had occasional visitations from Susan Ryland going like, wow, chapter 2 was pretty interesting. I wonder where this is going to go.
Right.
Conrad's coming over for lunch. Bye-bye.
What was her boyfriend's name? Andreas.
Yeah. If she had been part of the story by being that sort of like one step removed.
Yeah.
We're reading it as she's reading it, and then we see her notations and stuff.
Yeah.
Could have been an opportunity for some character building.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think that'd be good because I would know who she was a little bit more, because I became interested in Tamara Preston during the Secret History of Twin Peaks.
Yes.
So that probably would have been good, because then when we catch up to her and meet her in the real world, I'm like, oh, I kind of know her too.
Yeah.
From this whole time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it would make sure that you never forget what you're doing. You're reading a book within a book.
Yeah, totally.
And it might make it be like, I really think that like this book, it swings from one extreme to the other.
Right. It
Half
swings,
of the book,
baby. This book can really swing.
Wow. This book can really swing. I don't know. Like the
You sound
first
a little bit like your neighbor.
What?
A little bit.
Look at your dog. She literally says some stuff like that.
I know.
Yeah. Where you're just like, yeah.
Yep.
The first half of this book, aggressively 1940s Atticus Purned.
Yeah.
Second half of this book, aggressively Susan Ryland trying to do some detective work. If this book opened with her being like, oh my gosh, Tim Conway killed himself and he sent me this manuscript.
Yeah.
This is going to be weird, but I must read it for my job. And then she's reading it and being like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
This person feels like it's a reference to his boyfriend. Okay, I just went to the boyfriend's house and he told me all of this crazy stuff. All right, well, back to the book, though. I need to see what happens
Yeah, that
next.
sounds great.
Chapter 3. So that, like, it's not the first half is this, the second half of that is that. It's the entire thing is this bizarre, blended, mixed reality narrative.
Yeah.
You're reading the Magpie Murders as you're watching her solve the mystery.
Yeah. That sounds great. I would have liked that more.
Yeah. It's kind of surprising that that's not what it is. It's a very hot or cold book.
Yeah, it is.
Like, if you're not down with both of these styles of mystery,
right,
you only have half of a book to read.
Right.
That you're going to enjoy it all.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was it for the Magpie Mysteries.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
We are moving on, as we said earlier, next time. I almost said next week. Next week, we'll be back with an off-book episode where we talk about whatever.
That's right.
But next time, so 2 weeks from today, we are going to be talking about both the Afterlife Archie comics and the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina comics.
That's right. They're available in trade paperbacks, the entire stories, in one convenient package for each.
It's actually... Oh, no, you're right. It is... Okay, Archie has one, and then Sabrina actually has 2 that are available.
Oh, there are 2?
Oh, no.
But my point is...
one of each. You're right. I'm sorry.
My point is that like they may release multiple issues of comic book, but like they'll collect them into one.
Yeah, William, I'm not an idiot. I'm talking about the collections.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah?
You could have fooled me. And you did. I'm a fool.
Yeah. I'm showing listings for 2 of each, but the rub is it's pre-order for like way far in the future. So I'm surprised that they're even showing this.
Weird.
More Archie than Sabrina. Archie isn't available until like 2018, and then the Sabrina one is available in December. But so excuse me, there is 1 volume available from each.
Okay.
So we are going to be reading Afterlife with Archie, Escape from Riverdale, which is a compilation of a bunch of the individual comic books. And then also The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Volume 1.
Cool.
Which is on Amazon. They're both on Amazon.
Yeah, getting in the Halloween season.
Yeah.
October vibes, y'all.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm stoked about these. I've read The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and I loved it.
Nice.
So I'm excited to read Afterlife with Archie.
Cool.
So
yeah, that's in 2 weeks. Next week, we'll be back talking about whatever we want.
Yes.
But really, as a sign off for this show, I hope you guys had a good time.
Yep.
That's what this show has always aimed to do. You know, we're here to talk about books, but we're also here to sit down and have a damn good conversation.
Have a chuckle.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this show.
Yep.
If you read the Magpie Murders, I'd be very curious to hear what you thought. Was it what you expected?
Yeah.
Did you find yourself leaning toward preferring one half of the book versus another? What were your overall feelings? What was your review? Let's get some mini reviews from people out there who have read along with us.
Yeah.
And you can drop them.
That definitely happens a lot.
Yeah, sure. You can drop them in the Book Club Schmook Club Facebook group.
Yes.
Look it up on Facebook. Or
it's Book Club Schmook Club Podcast on Facebook.
That's right. Or get a super secret link to it on talkbomb.clam/schmook. SHMOOK. Which is where you can find links to everything we have ever done. That will now be the living monument to Book Club Schmook Club. It contains everything. Or you can get in touch directly with us.
That's right.
Kristen, Tell them how you do it.
You do it at @ChillinKristen on Instagram and Twitter.
And look at me. I'm your buddy at Haunted Sponge. Also at Will Rogers 2000.
Yep.
One is mostly for jokes. The other one I talk about.
Do we have to talk about the purposes and merits of whether you should have Haunted Sponge or not every time?
Well, I just have 2 accounts is all.
Yeah, it is all, but you're always like, so...
As
I don't
always,
even know if I have this. I don't know what's going.
For all previous and for all future publications from TalkBomb, our production company,
Yep.
follow at TalkBomb all over the place. And can't wait
Yep.
for Guide to the Unknown.
Yes.
We can't. We hope that you guys can't either.
Yeah.
If you're very slicky and sleuthy, you might track down some already existing accounts
Yep.
for Guide to the Unknown. They're out there right now. We're not really going big and bad to publicize it, but they do exist. They are
Yep.
online. So go do some sleuthing of your own.
find 'em.
Get your creepoid
Yeah.
bones going. Creepoid gene.
Yeah.
Should be kicking in soon.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, you guys. All right, we'll see you next time.
Yep.
And until that time comes, good talk, gang.
Meeting adjourned. Noise.
Nice. Hey, everyone. Thanks again for listening to the show. If you enjoyed this episode, you should consider going to our website, www.talkbomb.com, where we have archived every show we've ever done. You can also visit our bonus show store, where we sell exclusive episodes of our podcasts for 50 cents a piece, not to mention our merchandise. If you enjoyed Talk Bomb, the best thing you can do is help us spread the word. Tweet, share, review. We would greatly appreciate anything you can do to spread the word. Please also consider following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, where we're at TalkBomb. Following us online is the best way to keep up to date with our productions. More than anything, we just hope you enjoyed the show. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you at TalkBomb.com. All right, new mic test. Hopefully it's not crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Kristen, when's the last time you had Frankenbeans?
Wow, that's a great question. I have no idea. That's not the kind of thing that I would ever make on my own, really, or order on my own.
I feel like you said that this was like a Q&A.
Wow.
Hi, my name is Douglas. I'm from the the arts department. When's the last time you had Frankenbeans? Wow, what a great question.
Man, I do not know. It could have been Mom making them for Robbie,
Yeah.
for all I know. How about you? How about you, Will?
Been a long time. I don't like the idea of a hot dog just rolling around on a plate, commingling with beans. That's weird. Seems like an anarchy.
Mingling with beans.
It seems like there's no form, It's
Well, I remember when Mom made them, like, it was kind of a bake, so they were sort of like formed together in a way. Like the hot dog was,
yeah.
It wasn't just floppy. It was, crispy on top, I guess.
All right.
So there's a little bit more form.
Yeah.
Because also when you bake them, it takes out some of the moisture. So it's not as just like slop on a plate.
Yeah, that way you don't have moist Franks.
Or moist beans.
This is a moist Frankfurter.
Why, thank you,
It's
Alan.
like the juice just explodes when you bite it.
Ew, William. That's like, I hate when people, even though I know exactly what they're talking about, I completely get it. When they talk about hot dogs, like, being crunchy or like the snap. Like I get it.
Stop describing your food to me.
Yeah, totally.
I don't like the way people talk about food. Unless it is like if it's when it's fine? Mm-hmm. When your husband, who's a professional chef, is talking about food, it's done with an air of dignity and professionalism. And
he just loves it.
And you know that he knows exactly what he's talking about, even if I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's the only time. If anybody's complimenting my lunch,
I think I completely agree.
How my lunch smells, how their lunch tastes, what it was like for them when they bit something.
I completely agree. I would think that hearing people talk about food would be like the most annoying thing ever, but Ryan is just like so into it and so like not pretentious about it. It is fine.
Well, there is a difference hearing any professional talk about what they actually know and understand,
True.
But yeah, if I have to talk about like every smack and slurp of you chowing down on dinner.
Did you see
I don't care.
that I tweeted about heating up my lunch today and I was embarrassed?
Yeah, what a weird. I completely understood. I understood completely. Tell everybody what you tweeted.
Okay, so I tweeted that I was embarrassed to heat up my lunch today, and I waited a while because there were a bunch of people in the lunchroom and I wanted them to clear out.
Just doing. They're like, she's back. Just doing little.
I know.
Like a buzzard. Just flying around.
I was like that. Except, well, luckily I have 2 offices now, so I was going between them and I would scope out the situation when I was like.
You mean the bathroom and your office, right?
3 offices then. So it was more about it. I was worried about it smelling.
Where do you do the majority of your business?
Where do you think? The smallest one?
Yeah.
Well, the stall that's the smallest one. That was my joke. So okay.
No, I understood.
Well, because the bathroom at large would be larger than my, would it be? Anyway, so I was worried about it smelling weird. Like, I don't know if eating up asparagus smells that good. So I was like, I don't know if people want to be sitting here while I do that while they're eating. That's like gross.
Yeah.
But my second concern was that if they saw what it was, they're just like, ew, asparagus makes your pee smell. Like, the girl's pee is going to smell.
Yeah, and that's a crazy person thing to think.
That's what everybody thinks when you think about asparagus.
I know that's what you think when you think about asparagus, but have you ever seen anyone eating asparagus and then been like, your pee's going to smell later?
Probably.
And does it matter to you?
No.
If that thought pops into your head, it's just a passing...
It was a joke.
Just a drive-by thought. But you thought it.
Yeah, totally.
And you held off.
I held off for the smell thing I just said. Like,
Only
not my pee smell.
Only for the smell.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a funny thing, the idea that they'd see that and be like, ugh. But no, like the same way I wouldn't want to go heat up like scallops when a bunch of people are there. No,
totally. I don't like smelling other people's lunch either.
No, it's disgusting. So I try to be considerate.
I don't care what you're eating.
I essentially had brunch, so I was able to hold off for a long time because I ate my snack around like 10:30.
Gonna have my snack now. In case you're all wondering. It's also asparagus. You know what that means? That's right.
It was pumpkin mousse, which doesn't do anything.
Pamplemousse. Mm-hmm. You know what that means?
Yeah, grapefruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not what you had.
No, pumpkin mousse.
Fascinating.